Hello and welcome to another An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about Pacific Rim from 2013, which is a movie that I absolutely adore. And the premise of the film is that in 2013, an interdimensional portal opens in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. And from this portal, which is named the Breach, emerge immense alien monsters that tower as tall as buildings. Godzilla, in other words. And these kaiju, as they are dubbed, rampage all around the rim of the Pacific. Hence the film's name. They attack China, and they attack the west coast of the US, and they attack Australia, and presumably Japan and Philippines, and all sorts of other countries that are in that area. And humanity responds as Japanese media has always told us that we would, which is that we build giant robots to fight the giant monsters, and we call the massive robots Jaegers, because apparently we're not going to call them mecha, because that's what they are. Anyway, humanity's new weapon is a major game changer, and soon Jaegers with evocative names like Strikey Eureka and Crimson Typhoon are smashing the kaiju. And for a time it seems like, we've got this war won, everything's cool. But then the kaiju grow even bigger and stronger, and Jaegers begin to fall. And these giant robots are expensive, and they're not working. And so there's, massive disenchantment sets in, the numbers of Jaegers start to fall, and soon there are only a handful left, but the kaiju keep coming. And basically, with their options running out, the final Jaeger command hatches a desperate plan to close the breach for good, even though it's not clear that that is even possible. And that's our movie. I mean, there's lots of other details about the characters going on, but that's the movie. We have to close the breach, or the kaiju are going to keep coming, and humanity's going to be destroyed. So, this is a movie about giant robots fighting giant monsters, so it's right in my wheelhouse. But, there have been movies that are right in my wheelhouse before that I've been disappointed by. This was not one of those cases. I remember, I was enthusiastic to see this movie, but also nervous that it wasn't going to live up to my hopes. And I just remember coming out of the cinema with this massive grin on my face because it was so much more fun than I had expected and such an enjoyable experience for me. So let's talk about why I like it so much. So, first of all, as I said, this is a movie about giant robots battling giant monsters. And so it has lots of big fight scenes. Not really a surprise. But a key strength of the movie is that it understands that a fight scene is not just about spectacle, it also has to tell a story. This is not to say, of course, that there isn't spectacle, because there's a lot of it. It is a movie that is about giant monsters fighting giant robots. You're going to have some big damn spectacle, basically. But it's all spectacle with purpose. The kaiju exude menace in the way they move, the way they attack. They're creepy and gross and horrible. The Jaeger's weapons and tactics are expressions of the characters of the men and women piloting them. The action ebbs and flows. There's moments of dire danger, moments of triumph, even the occasional moment of levity. The only other place that I can say consistently does fight scenes so well is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they really understand the narrative purpose of a fight scene. The fight scene is not there just to be a fight scene. The fight scene is there to tell a story. This movie understands that. The best Marvel Cinematic Universe movies understand that. And they're better movies for it. Secondly, and this is something of an extension of that sort of skillful use of fight scenes, Pacific Rim is great at all of its visual, non-verbal storytelling. Which is not to say that it doesn't make use of more traditional, explicitly spoken plot development. It's actually got quite a lot of expository dialogue, even some narration, and it can get quite heavy-handed at times in that regard even. But it does also do a lot of its storytelling via purely visual means. The way characters move, the way they dress, the physical designs of the Jaegers they pilot. All of these things are telling us, all of these elements are telling us things about the characters. It's not necessarily telling us anything particularly subtle or nuanced, but it is telling us things. And the film repeatedly does a great job of conveying fundamental information in just a few seconds of video. You get a feel for characters, even though they don't spend a lot of time on screen, because it uses their time on screen effectively to convey who they are. Finally, I mentioned before that a film's soundtrack is not something I generally notice unless it's particularly good or bad, Pacific Rim is definitely one of the exceptional cases. I really like the soundtrack. The film's not afraid to layer in. This is not a film that is afraid of bombast. It's got a lot of kind of bombast and over the top elements on every front, and the pounding theme song, which features in many of the big scenes. It's a great composition. It's full of bombast, and it really helps to reinforce the drama and the action. I like it so much, in fact, that it's my mobile phone ringtone. And just talking about this movie makes me want to watch it again. So I think I'm going to do so this weekend. That's Pacific Rim, a movie I thoroughly adore. Next time, we'll be talking about something very, very different. 1977's The Creeper, aka Rituals. Caution, the shocking nature of certain scenes may be too disturbing for some people. It's from 1977. You guys will be fine. Anyway, that's next time. In the meantime, thanks for watching this one, and I hope you enjoyed it.